Hello everyone, very good evening, and here we are in front of you guys with regard to this paper, GS paper 2 of UPSC Mains 2025. So too much of curiosity is there among the students with regard to the level of questions. So let me be very specific and precise here. Okay, the question was moderate to tough, not very easy, not very moderate, and not that tough as well, but yes, tilted from moderate to tough. Means going ahead with the blend or with the mix-up or concoctment between the concepts of factuality as well as the concepts of theory. UPSC has now given a different, platform here when it comes to the approach, right? And let's understand the whole scenario, like what is the impression towards the questions and the whole question paper, and for which I have got two experts of the domain with me. So one is Karan Jindal sir. So I would like to invite Karan sir. Hello sir. Very warm welcome and thank you so much once again for joining us.
Sure, sir.
And secondly, I have got another expert faculty with us. Okay, he is once again, Vishal Gupta sir with us on the stage. So welcome sir.
Well, thank you, sir. And good evening to all the students that are watching us.
So everyone, we are going to discuss about the impression of the question paper. Literally, remember, the whole detailed analysis, the whole detailed session will be followed in next not more than 1 to 2 hours. So stay tuned with the channel, everyone. Okay, so let's start, sir. Okay, with the first question, I believe. So here we have. So let me ask you, sir, Karan sir, what's your opinion on the question number 1?
Sir, I would like to add something here.
Yeah, please.
Firstly, regarding UPSC in the GS papers, they believe in giving bouncers first of all. The first two questions you will receive in the form of bouncers and you have to duck them. If you do not know about RPA, specifically the provision about the corrupt practices, then you need just skip this here and just move on, because these kind of questions you can answer when you get confidence from answering the rest of the questions. This was a very specific question where we were required to tell about the assets, about the corrupt practices. You just read about this, that it is a disqualification under the RPA. So that is something, a difficult kind of a question, I would say, for a GS candidate if they do not have any optional subject related to it, right? And secondly, after this, what we see about the other questions as well, that Indian constitution comparison with the US constitution is given. So this trend is increasing. Earlier only 1 or 2 questions, but this time 3 questions are asked. The third is indirect question, right? And after that, sir,
So after that, sir, with regard to this third question and second and third question specifically, that compare and contrast the president's power to pardon in India and US. Like once again, the very same meme shall be quoted here. America kya kehta tha? Kaun hai tu? And today we ask America, tu kaun hai, right? So Vishal sir, what's your opinion on this type of a question, sir? Means like when they are specifically targeting the question on comparison, like what it is.
So actually, sir, I would like to remind the students, actually this is the part of the syllabus also. So they have deliberately put in the syllabus the comparison between the political systems.
Yeah.
So right now in this, they have directly asked you, what is the scope of the president's power to pardon in India? We obviously know that what is the scope of president power to pardon in India and what are the limitations on the power. What are the limitations on the president power to pardon? So now students, apart from that, you have to remember 2 things. First of all, generally, what we have got from the papers for last 2-3 years, they ask about the political organization, the political structure of India, especially UK and then USA. Because India being a parliamentary democracy, UK being a parliamentary democracy, so there is some sort of coherence with that. USA generally ask because it is a sort of a prudential kind of system. So that's why I think this was expected that they would ask something regarding the similarity or difference between Indian system, political system, UK political system or American political system. So it was expected that they would ask something like that. Sometimes they can ask you the similarity in India's parliamentary democracy, UK parliamentary democracy. Sometimes they can ask you, and in the later questions as well, they also ask a comparison between India's system and America's system.
Right, sir. So this is the comparison part, and now we have got a bit rigid section here as well that we generally haven't experienced this one. Like asking question directly from the core of the state constitution, state assembly, as we have got here. That is question number 4. Discuss the nature of Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly after Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019. We know it very well that how taking the inspiration from Government of India Act 1935 as well as the British Parliament, we have induced the concept of bicameral legislation in the union as well as the state parliaments, state legislature basically. But when it comes to the Indian state structure, Bicameralism is not followed throughout the whole states. It is just presently the 6 states only. Until 2019, it was 7 states, and the 7th state used to be the Jammu and Kashmir. So, but post abrogation of Article 370, and now presently what we are watching is, the Jammu and Kashmir reorganization bill has been represented once again inside the parliament. Okay, so the bicameralism concept was removed, and Jammu and Kashmir was given just the unicameral legislation. So this is a type of a question which is quite rigid, to be very honest. Okay, if I was sitting in the examination hall today and I would have encountered this question, so for sure this was something which was not very easy for me, and for this I would like to have inputs from Karan Jindal sir on the same.
So yes, as a GS candidate, this was really another bouncer, which I told you, right, in the very first question. So if I have limited information, you can tell about after delimitation what happened. Like in the presidential election also, the J&K assembly was suspended at that time. So if a UT assembly is voting in the presidential election, a constitutional amendment is needed. You could comment upon that also. And regarding the power to buy land, these kind of laws under Article 35 can they be passed by the J&K assembly? You could bring up those points. And post that, there are the parliament's power on the state list is also there in the UTs. So you could have that concept under this also, that J&K assembly powers to make legislation is also subject to the parliament's power on the same list as well. So you could bring up, because as a GS candidate, if you are not from J&K, how would I expect you to answer this?
True, sir.
True. That is how.
So in that very same way, the next question is quite easy. What do you think, sir, and Vishal sir, with regard to the next question?
So specifically, they talked about the powers and the role that is played by Attorney General of India. So we all know Attorney General of India. So basically, he is the highest law officer of the country, appointed by the government. So obviously, he performs the legal services for the government. He contests cases on the behalf of the government. He also advises the government on different legal matters. So he being the advocate of the government, or we can say the devil's advocate. So that's the role that he plays with respect to the government. This question was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Students could have attempted this question just by reading the bare act.
So if the previous one was the bouncer, this one was the full toss.
It was really a full toss. Exactly.
So sir, in that very same way, all the other questions, specifically now, if we jump directly to the other segments like e-governance, or the questions like we have got the civil society. Right. Okay. The biggest, I guess this is a type of not a bouncer, a type of a beamer. This is one, right? So I believe that is, the civil society organizations are often perceived as being anti-state actors than non-state actors. Means, like, in my opinion, I'm thinking that here the one who created the question wants us to answer that these civil society organizations, they consider themselves better than state. They think that the state has failed, so that is why their existence comes into the need. Okay, so this is my opinion, but I would like to have the opinion of the other two experts as well. So yes, over to you, Karan sir. Firstly, I would like to have your opinion on the same.
So because so many organizations are coming up which are actually challenging the state in its policy matters, so those matters are to be brought up. So your current affairs, your recent current affairs are to be mentioned here. And on top of that, after the anti-state or the non-state actors this part is given, you can bring up the states that is increasing its hold on the Foreign Contribution Act also. Because many NGOs have lost their funding support from the foreign. After the Ministry of Home Affairs, they have tightened those norms also there. And regarding the right to dissent, the right to form associations, you could bring up those fundamental rights also. Because ultimately, your idea is to tell that how these CSOs are perceiving themselves as anti-state by the state itself. So you also need to bring out those draconian laws in the hands of the state, like National Security Act and that sedition, which has recently been taken off after the renaming of the IPC as well. Yes, Vishal sir.
Yeah, exactly, sir. Adding on from what you have already stated. So generally, they basically talked about the role that the civil society organizations can still play in the country. So basically, from last several years, we have been seeing that civil service or civil society organizations, they have been targeted by the government. Some rightly, or some maybe due to some sort of political agenda. So the reason here is, nevertheless, the civil society organizations do play an important role in generating awareness among the people. So there are a lot of civil society organizations. Even if I want to take just recent example, if we just want to say the order of the Supreme Court on stray dogs. So you must have seen, especially in Delhi NCR, there were a lot of civil society organizations, a lot of NGOs that have come to the streets. So basically, they were just demanding the rights to the animal also. And After that, the Supreme Court has to amend the order. So this is how constructive role, this is the sort of constructive role that the civil society organizations can play. They can generate awareness among the people. They can lead to change in policy framework by the government. So I would say, in this question, you should have taken a positive approach. The question, it's a sort of a dicey question. You could have taken a positive approach. The role the civil society organization can play in the development of the country, in generating awareness, and you can state multiple roles regarding that.
Right.
Yeah, so okay, sir. So I believe we can skip to the other
Yes.
parts.
So
Like
I think
the
this
IR
is based on
IR
current affairs.
Yeah, these
Yes,
are all
yes.
current affairs
Let us.
questions.
Yes. So this 10th question, it is making huge presence.
Post-Cold War
Yes.
is becoming a site of sovereign nationalism. Well, it's basically exactly the point of a question which we were expecting. Okay, contentions going ahead between Russia, Ukraine, Palestine, then Lebanon and Israel, obviously. So the term here, that is, sovereign nationalism. It has been since last almost 1.5 years, or let's say 2 years. It has been continuously a subject or a particular topic which is continuously rotating in our newspapers as well as in the discussions as well, right? Strategic autonomy, sovereign nationalism, extreme nationalism, fascism has come back to the picture, right? Jingoism has come back to the picture, xenophobism has come back to the picture. So these are the things which are, already there since last 1 year, and UPSC said that, okay, something which is in trend, how can I leave it, right?
Sir, I just want to add something.
Yes, please, sir.
So in this, we can also add one more kind of nationalism, economic nationalism.
Economic
That
nationalism.
the countries are playing, especially our dear United States of America. So what they're trying to do, they're imposing tariffs on all the countries.
True.
They've not even left Pakistan,
Make
with which
America
they
great
do not
again.
even do trade. So basically, that's a sort of economic nationalism. That's a sort of exclusivism that America is trying to bring in. And it is fueling trade wars among the countries.
True.
So you could use this example among many examples. You could have elaborated this question in multiple manners. And one point that I wanted to elaborate was economic nationalism. So you could have added that.
Yes.
Over to you, sir.
Sir, and the wars which are going on, they are adding to it, like Ukraine-Russia war or the Iran-Israel war. They are all sovereign nationalism, right?
And sir, one thing, constitutional morality is back again.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is multiple times asked, but now this is in the context of judicial accountability and judicial independence.
Simply, I believe, sir, are they targeting towards checks and balance?
Yes, so checks and balance and separation of powers
Separation
also,
of powers.
right? And judiciary, how it is going on to interpret the constitution and how it is accountable also at times. So that missing link, because judicial accountability is very meager in India, right? There are many less checks and balances on judiciary because constitutional supremacy is getting translated into judicial supremacy in India. So how judicial will be accountable? It is not stated so much because when it comes down to the wire, there is only judicial removal or the judge's removal. So in day-to-day life, how the judiciary will be accountable, for that constitutional morality only remains our guiding letter here. Only remains our guiding letter. So you could bring out those cases where the judiciary is getting limited or the checks by the parliament upon the judicial powers as well, right?
And sir, one more thing. The question itself is providing you a guiding light. It is the statement given by the Supreme Court in one of the cases it has decided. So it is saying the constitutional morality is the fulcrum which acts as an essential check upon the high functionaries. Now this is the key that you have to take. High functionaries and citizens alike. So that means the Supreme Court itself is stating the need for judicial accountability. Supreme Court itself is stating that Supreme Court or the apex court of this country, being the topmost court, it cannot go just berserk. It has to be in check. It has to remain within the bounds of the constitution, within the framework of the constitution. It also has to respect the powers, authorities of other organs.
So, sir, as a legal expert, like, what would you guide the students, like, in such a question? What sort of content they could bring up? Because if you have to, like, I think they would understand the question.
Exactly.
So what sort of content they should look upon when you are answering these kind of questions, sir?
So exactly, you have already stated separation of power. So they would have briefly mentioned what is separation of power. All of the students know, I do not have to elaborate on that, what is separation of power. So they could have briefly mentioned this provision of separation of power. Then they could have mentioned multiple judgments. For example, this judgment also, in which the Supreme Court itself has stated the need for accountability. Secondly, we can also say, now we have seen that Supreme Court has multiple times used the provision of contempt of court. somebody criticizing the judgment given by the court, somebody criticizing an order given by the court, be it a high court, be it the Supreme Court, be it a district court, Supreme or the courts have recently or they have frequently invoked the power of contempt of court. Something I think that this shall be mentioned, because contempt of courts now in today's era, it is essential, but it somehow feels draconian, because somehow if the people are going against or they are disagreeing with the judgment or order of the court and invocation of contempt of court, so it is going against constitutional morality. So I think students could have also mentioned that we need to tweak the contempt of court act a little bit.
And so just the judge case, right? That is, I think, it is to be mentioned here.
Yes, that is the
Right?
Justice Yashwant Verma
Yes,
case. And
yes.
apart from that, also talking about the element or the equipment we have got that
So
is known
I
as
think-
in-house inquiry.
Yeah, that is the actually trigger point of this
Trigger
question.
point.
Right,
Yes,
right,
exactly.
right. Okay. So the Indian Constitution has conferred. So this is, I think, very basic question being asked. And regarding the collegium system, I think this requires knowledge.
Once again, it's basic static question.
How judiciary is appointed
How
in
judiciary
US.
is appointed in US means, simply speaking, you have to go ahead with comparative politics.
And
Simply.
so regarding in India, nowhere else in the world judges appoint judges. It only happens in India, right?
we are a different type of a checks and balance.
Okay.
And in this case, the Supreme Court has fantastically stated, the advocates in this particular case have stated, I like to tell you an anecdote. So they stated ki, my lords, nowhere in the world judges appoint themselves. Obviously, judges are appointed by political institutions. The government is appointing them. Same is the case with the USA. So judges remarked, we do not have to follow what other countries are following. So we can develop our own system, and we can develop our system. So the need of the country and the judicial independence is that we shall go by collegium system. So students, obviously, I'm telling you that you need to understand the basic differences in the political system of India, at least India, UK and USA. So they have asked you comparison in the political structure of India and USA in 2 questions, right, sir?
Yes, absolutely true, sir. So I think, guys, we will discuss all of the rest of the topics, rest of the questions in detail. Okay, so I believe, sir, not more than 2 hours or 1.5, something.
So it depends on how much they show our engagement, right?
Yes, absolutely. So guys, stay tuned with the channel and rest all the questions. Okay, we are going to discuss in depth, in detail, one by one. Okay, so Karan sir will be here, Vishal sir will be here, I am also here. Okay, and we shall be also having Soumya Pandey ma'am with us on the board. Okay, so guys, stay tuned, not more than 1.5 hours maximum. Okay, and we shall be having the detailed discussion.
Can I say just a concluding note
Please,
here?
sir. Yeah, it's all yours now.
Sir, I would like to say the candidates who have studied the static knowledge multiple times, they will hold edge in the paper because they would be able to write the article numbers as well, the cases numbers as well. So this is, I would believe, the candidates who have given multiple attempts, they would be in a better position, because the candidates who have just solely concentrated on current affairs, they would be a bit of a backward point, because in 2023-2024 UPSC was concentrating more on current affairs in GS2, but this paper is tilted more towards static knowledge, which has been prompted from the recent news, right? So stay tuned, and we will be back in some time, and we look forward to your engagement so that it motivates us to have